What up guys, it's your girl T, the nappy-headed jojoba, and there's an elephant in the room. Let's address it right away. I'm wearing eyeshadow that actually has color instead of a taupe. No, obviously the real major thing that I'm here to talk about, you saw it in the title of the video, it's this hair girl. Summertime just doesn't feel complete to me if I don't do some poetic justice braids, or more accurately, I typically do kinky twists. Nonetheless, this year I decided to switch things up and I really wanted to try boho locks. A year and a half, 2 years ago, there was a faux locks craze, which I largely credit to Colored Beautiful starting. I've never installed those locks before, but I did unsuccessfully make a crochet wig out of them, so I can actually compare the boho locks with these ones, which are the ones that everyone was using. I can't even remember what brand these were. Quick stats on boho locks. It is a Black-owned, sister-owned brand that I discovered on Instagram. Basically, as soon as I saw some of the photos and videos of these locks, I was hooked and I knew I had to try them. It is run by Lulu. You can see her rocking her wares on Instagram. She is beautiful. And I love her personality, at least the sense of her personality that I can get through her posts. And she actually does have a YouTube channel. I don't know if she does too much on it. It seems like she's only got a handful of videos, but you can check it out and see her various lock styles. What I have are the goddess locks, and then she also offers mermaid locks, which is basically these locks, but with also loose wavy pieces that you would crochet in to kind of create an even more bohemian kind of free-spirited look. She's based out of the UK, so her prices are in pounds, and I will tell you right off the bat, the boho locks are not cheap. I believe it is £127 for a full set. Conversion rates vary day to day, but that's still going to be a pretty penny. However, Lulu does have sales and promotions frequently, especially for her returning customers. I've only purchased from Lulu the once when I purchased these, but I still get, you know, return customer only promotions and coupon codes all the time from her. So if and when I decide to purchase another set, I will have an extra discount. And even without those, she has free shipping promotions, 20% off promotions, all that kind of stuff. I'll also let you know that you can't just buy her locks at any given time because from what I understand, she's a one-woman show. So what she does is she opens her online cart in her store for a certain period of time, takes as many orders as she can realistically fulfill during that window, and then she closes her cart again until she fulfills all those orders and ships them out. I think if you're running a small business, that's a much more pragmatic and smart way to go about it because it's all on you. You don't really have other people to rely on, so you want to make sure you're not getting in over your head and you're only taking on as many orders as you can actually fulfill. After placing my order, I would say it was maybe 10 business days, 10 to 15 business days until my order shipped. It was coming from the UK, so it took a little bit longer, but again, all of these sort of time frames and processing times were stated at the time of purchase, so I was not put off. I knew what I was getting into. All that being said, I feel like everything went really smoothly. After you purchase, she sends you all sorts of information on how to install, how to care for, everything you would need to know about actually using the hair once you get it. With the goddess locks, I went with the Bronde color, which is brown plus blonde equals Bronde. I chose the option to do a Bronde and Auburn mix rather than 100% Bronde. At this point, she's got pictures of what all Bronde looks like, all Auburn looks like, and the Bronde and Auburn mix. Personally, I'm happy I went with the mix. I feel like it gives it a little bit more dimension, a little bit more flavor. By the way, I am filming this with 100% daylight, and I also have a few photos that I took outdoors so you guys can get a better idea of what the color really looks like. When you buy a set of her locks, you get 100 locks. I believe on her site it says approximately 100. I got exactly 100. And it was a 60-40 split of the Bronde to Auburn. So mostly Bronde, which is kind of what I wanted because I did want to play a little bit more with a brighter color versus the 40 Auburn locks, which is more of an accent to kind of create a little bit more depth, like I was saying. I think I had 78 locks in my head. This is one of the boho locks. This is one of the Auburn ones. As you can see, it's got kind of a nice wave to it. These locks look this way because of Lulu doing everything to them by hand to make them look this way. I'm not exactly sure how they come to her, but she's got a whole process to make them into the locks that look like this with the wave, with the sort of frizz, for lack of a better word. I mean, I know that sounds bad. Frizz is like a dreaded word, but I feel like that's actually what makes these look a lot more realistic than, say, these, which I bought at a local beauty supply store, and it's like a perfect straight coil, as you can see. It's a little bit shorter than the boho lock, and this is a number 2 in color, if I recall correctly. This is a little bit thicker, and it's basically a perfect coil, like I just said. And there you can see the ends are a little bit different too, where hers tapered to a more natural finish. I mean, you can see that it's been cut, but you still get the idea that it looks a little bit more believable, in my opinion, than this little coil that is of the same thickness, basically, from top to bottom. So the fact that Lulu does whatever her process is to the hair, that's part of the processing time, is her getting her shipment of hair, making those basic bitch locks into the boho locks. That's part of what that processing time is, and that also helped me to feel better about the price tag, because I don't really have any issue paying more to support a small business, especially when it's a sister-owned business. I have no issue at all. But sometimes, you know, some things are just not within your budget. So I did wait until I felt like I was in a place where I could actually afford to buy the locks, and then I pulled the trigger. These are designed to be crochet locks. So they're meant to be crocheted in onto cornrows, and then in the front, what Lulu recommends is doing individuals, which is basically when you have a braid or a twist, and then you crochet the hair around the root of that braid or twist, and then you take the lock and you wrap it around to conceal it. This is a method I'd actually seen before done on YouTube. I can't remember her name. I feel like her name is like Jazz Rose or something, or Jasmine Rose. I'll link her channel below because she's got several tutorials on how to do no crochet locks. By the way, quick bone to pick. This is a latch hook. I don't know where the name crochet braids and crochet locks and crochet whatever came from, but this is a latch hook, not a crochet needle. They should be called crochet weave or something. I digress. I am a stickler for syntax, and it just always really crinkled my sphincter when people call this crochet braids, because there's no crochet. Anyway, because I'm an idiot, instead of crocheting in the back, I decided to do all individuals. This was a fatal error. It increased the amount of time it took me to do my hair probably tenfold. Real talk, getting these locks in my head ended up being a 4-day ordeal. 4 days. However, that's 100% my fault. Here's why it was 4 days. Day 1 wasn't really a day, it was just my detangling day. So I did my detangling, that was like an hour, a little bit less. Okay, so that was day 1. Day 2 was my wash, deep condition, and curl former set day. Day 3 was supposed to be the last day, which was when I actually put my real hair into twists, which I was going to use as the base for the individuals rather than crocheting, because as I've covered before on my channel, my cornrow game is non-existent. I know how to cornrow, I just can't execute it, so I figured I would just do individuals for that reason, as well as because I like to wear my hair up a lot, and I figured it would look extremely shady to have crochet in the back with like a high bun. I just didn't think that was gonna look right, and I wanted to have individuals everywhere because I thought it would be a little bit more believable. Yes, I am drinking a beer while I'm filming. Happy 4th, or Resistance Day as I'm calling it. Happy Resistance Day, cheers. Going back to day 3. Day 3, the day of me twisting my hair, that was supposed to take a couple hours, but because I did the twists relatively small, much smaller than I typically do them at all, that took forever. Because I used each curl former section to create 1 to 2 twists. I knew that if I had 100 of these locks, I wanted to use most of them because I wanted to have a decent amount of locks in my head. I didn't want to have like 30 locks. And my hair is just difficult. It always has been, it always will be. So even with being so nicely stretched with the curl formers, I would still run into tangles and just issues and just having to take my time and be gentle. And I also was being very, very thorough with my product application because I knew that once my hair was cocooned in these locks, it was going to be challenging to keep it moisturized. So I intentionally really loaded up, essentially weighed my hair down with product because I knew that it was going to be hard to re-up, to top up on the moisture levels once my hair was styled. FYI, I used the Chemet Biologics Amla and Olive Heavy Cream. My ride or dies know that my preference is the burdock root butter cream, but I opted for the Amla and Olive Heavy Cream because it's heavier. And I wanted something that I felt would really just hold on to my hair longer. Like I wasn't really worried about the Jerry Curl juice stains that it would be leaving behind because I just was more worried about keeping my hair really, really saturated with moisture so it would be able to hold on to it for longer than it might necessarily do with the burdock root. And then I topped that off with the Olive and Honey Hydrating Balm, also a generous amount as I was twisting my own hair. By the time I had finished twisting my own hair, I don't know how many hours I'd been twisting, but it would have been long enough to have just installed some regular ass kinky twists and been done with it, and had time to spare. So it really just reminded me of why I never ever do small twists or braids, because it is not worth the hassle. Once all of the twists were in my hair, I think I had enough energy to install maybe 10, 15, no more than 20 of the Faux Locs before finally calling it a night. There is a learning curve with doing the individuals method where you're crocheting the hair around your root and then wrapping your hair. The boho locks come in packages like this of either 10 or 20, and they wouldn't be loose in here the way you see this. They were on little stretchy elastic kind of like gold ribbon. You guys know, it doesn't really matter honestly. But obviously I cut that off because I was grabbing and going. I didn't want to have to deal with going back to cut a new loop open every single time I needed a lock. So they would come in packs like this with either 10 or 20. And then she also gives you some hair tchotchkes. She gives you some yarn, I guess. I have some white yarn and some pink, and then these little gold things that people are putting all over their braids and locks these days. I'm just gonna leave them plain, at least for the moment. Both the beauty supply store brand, I gotta remember who this is. I want to say it's Outre, but I feel like that's wrong. They both have the loop at the top nonetheless, so that you can crochet them onto your cornrows or do the individuals method. But here's why I think I had such a hard time doing all individuals with the boho locks in particular. These are so uniform from top to bottom that it's pretty easy to kind of open them up, figure out where the middle is, and then I would imagine, I can't say because I've never tried it, I feel like these would be easier to wrap around your real hair or whatever. These ones are so, I guess, for lack of a better term, like one of a kind. Like each one is a little bit different. Each one is kind of a unique lock. So it was a lot harder, honestly, to even look at it and figure out which way to untwirl it and then to wrap it around my hair. And then once my hair was inside, it was sort of a learning curve, like I said, of figuring out how to actually wrap my hair rather than just twisting my hair with the lock. Because if you really look closely at some of the locks in my head, you can kind of see that it's almost like if my finger represents my real hair on the inside, it looks almost more, this is an exaggeration, it wouldn't be this big of a gap, but it's like real hair lock, real hair lock. So that was some of the challenge that I was facing with just figuring out how to do this installation process. I was losing the will to live rapidly as time went on and I was installing these locks, but now that they're in, I'm pretty happy about it. I'm a little wary of the takedown process, which actually is why I only did one pull through when I was knotting each lock at the root with the latch hook. Many times you'll see people when they're doing crochet braids, they'll go through, knot the hair, and then they'll go through and then knot it again. I didn't do all that. I know it's meant to be a way to provide more security, but I was just too nervous about the takedown process and I said, no ma'am, no God, I shan't be doing that. To me, the hair does feel secure. I mean, maybe time will tell and prove me wrong. The individuals method, just the part where my hair was already fully twisted and then I was just installing the locks and then wrapping them around my hair, that took me 5+ hours. Some of the other challenges I faced were just not only the fact that these were sort of tighter and harder to open up to wrap around, but also just figuring out which direction to wrap in, as I kind of alluded to earlier. Once this is on your head, it's kind of hard to figure out which way to open it up and then which way to wrap. And so I wound up at least twice wrapping them in completely the wrong direction, to the point where it was obvious that I'd wrapped it in the wrong direction once I got to the bottom, because my hair would just like pop out and the whole thing looked fucking crazy. And I had fucked the locks up so bad that they were unsalvageable. These were actually 2 fallen soldiers that cannot be used. As you can see, they are just ruined. This is what will happen if you wrap your hair the wrong way with one of these, and I don't really see any saving of these. These are going to go in the garbage. The ones on my head are quite a bit thicker and puffier because not only is there my real hair inside of them, but the process of actually kind of furling them and then wrapping them around, that fluffs them up. It creates more volume in them so that even if there weren't real hair inside of them, if I were to just like unwrap this one and then like try to twirl it back, it would be bigger. Because of the expansion of each lock, I'm kind of surprised to know that I didn't even use all the hair, because this looks very voluptuous. I love big hair, I'm no stranger to it, but this is not really what I've had in mind, because I feel like it's going to be kind of hard to just chuck this in a bun when I want to go work out. So I wish it had been a little bit more toned down than this, but I'm a rocket. At the same time, this doesn't feel heavy at all. It feels a lot softer and nicer than any Marley hair that I've ever felt. If I compare it to this, I feel like this does feel a little bit rougher and coarser than the Boho Locs hair. Let's talk about reusing the hair. I know a lot of people, when they do crochet styles, particularly styles like this, with like crochet locks, they can reuse the hair. I don't see a universe where I can reuse this hair. That's probably again on me because I did individuals the entire way around. I didn't crochet anything. My final recommendation, would I recommend Boho Locs? Yes, I would. If you can afford it, and you know, again, it might be something that you would need to maybe save up for, I say go for it, because to be honest, number one, I would still pick Boho Locs over going this route, mainly because I don't really feel like buying these locks is much cheaper. I bought however many packs I needed of these at a local beauty supply store. I believe it was around 8 packs or so, because you only get 10, maybe 15 locks in a pack. And here in LA, a pack of these locks that I got from the beauty supply store, I believe they were $9.99. So buying 8 packs, you know, that's not even that much cheaper. And then doing that, I'm getting a style that, 1, I don't like as much, 2, isn't supporting a small business, and 3, the biggest one, isn't supporting a Black-owned business. I would rather pay more, get all my hair at once, not have to worry about how many packs I'm supposed to get, because she gives you more than enough hair, girl. And I feel like it looks way better than the Faux Locs styles I've seen done with these. No tea, no shade, actually. My plan is to keep these in 4 to 6 weeks. I don't really know. I've never had Faux Locs before. I'm not sure how long they're going to last, because these are, as I said, kind of more frizzy. I do find them catching on my earrings and things a lot. But once I throw it up in a bun or some sort of updo, that won't be as much of a consideration. My hope is to be able to wear them at least for this whole month of July. And then I'm going to New Orleans in the first week of August, so I'm hoping to be able to kind of like wear them through that week and maybe remove them after I get back home. In terms of keeping my hair moisturized and cared for within these locks, I'm probably just going to stick to my dry deep conditioning technique, which I've done a whole video on. I will link it here. And now that I think about it, damn, I did that video a long time ago, and that is the last time that I had braid extensions. So yeah, I am overdue. I feel like most of the flaws that I can detect with this style aren't really noticeable to the average person. Maybe some dickhead on YouTube who has too much to say about nothing at all will try to call me out in the comments, which is most people on YouTube. Fuck. Nonetheless, I feel pretty good about how it turned out. It's definitely a new look for me, which is exciting in and of itself. I like the mixing of the Bronde and the Auburn. I feel like it just looks really good, and I'm happy with it, and I feel very summer ready. I have to get the hell out of here so I can try to power edit this video and head off to a pool party for the 4th. I am literally wearing my swimsuit right now and my cover up, so I really do need to try to get through this and go, and I will talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you've ever tried Faux Locs in any type whatsoever, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.
That's a nappy-headed hose there, I'm gonna tell you that now.
Happy Resistance Day.